hold on tight. 'Cause you know tomorrow may not bring that same thing that you said last night. Woo! Every time I find a little peace of mind, I hold on tight. 'Cause tomorrow may not bring the very same thing. No, no, no. Said none of the right there. You that care all. Just for me, I'm so glad that you that care all. Just for me, I'm so glad that you that care all. For a sinner like me. Well, hello. How are you doing, Aaron?
I am good. How about yourself?
Simply fantastic, and thank you for asking. Aaron, I am so glad you came on the show today to
Mhm.
express your coming into your videography. Is that what we're going to be discussing?
Yes, and just a little bit about like a story and how any basics I've gotten into that. So we can
Okay.
start from there.
With this video thing, could you kind of give us a little idea of what prompted you to get into this, how you got started in this?
This was back in 2015 where I started watching YouTube, and this kind of got me into a position of where I should be able to like create my own channel and also my just own videos in general. Like I've seen like other people like do content, I'd say like content I watched since when I was in eighth grade, and also did some like short little like videos back in the past when with a couple of my friends that uh moved as well. And just I've done some little videos with them and just also wanted to kept going. I feel like this is something that I want to do because I've seen people actually do like good footage of how they do cuts and just editing, whatever it is. And for that, I started like doing like reaction videos because I've seen like other people do it, but I feel like this was something that wouldn't be best for me to do. So I feel like doing like just working as a team and just working with great groups of people with shooting and editing as well because I also have back in high school and I've done some classes where I've done some like we just introduction of like script writing and just little short videos and just anything about like a documentaries and just let's say documentaries or maybe just a little short video on about yourself or just anything that's part of a group because like last video we've in the past we've done like videos of us doing like stuff about COVID.
Well, let me ask you real quick, like, so you kind of began to be interested in this since high school, and
Yes.
you and your friends, you saw things that kind of interest you, and when did you start? Was it in high school? Did you start investing in what you wanted to do? Like started looking at cameras, tripods, or whatever it took for you to do this?
Well, this actually was kind of back in eighth grade before I even like entered high school, where I
Oh,
wanted to actually, because I got my first camera when I was, I think about like, since when I was in ninth grade. It was more like a camcorder, and I've done some footage on that. And I wasn't sure exactly which camera is best, so I just kind of like just used that. And I noticed that using cameras is like, and also checking like the settings and also like the white balance, see if there's any like good footage I can use. So, and also with tripods, because tripods are useful and helpful. Because if I ever wanted to do like uh, just like a intro of myself or just a podcast, or so I just have like a tripod and just two cameras, which is more camcorder and more of a Canon EOS type of Canon camera.
Oh, so EOS, is that like video and audio?
It's video and audio, but also I have like
I mean,
a
I mean
mic.
video and still.
Oh, yes, it is. Yes.
I've seen that. I mean, some I've seen those cameras. They do great work. How would you characterize what your videography leans more towards? What is more of your interest?
More of my interest is kind of more of basically shooting and editing because that's something that I'm most comfortable doing, and this is something that I'm kind of fulfilled of doing. Also just making uh, videos look good as far as like rewatching the videos to see if there's any like mess ups and just or if there's any like stuff that I can improve with. That's what I'm looking for.
I would. I wish I had more money. I'd hire you because that's what I'd be looking for too. Somebody that can edit and be sensitive to exactly what you're saying to, because it's more like an art. A lot of times people think it's just take the video, go sit down, and voila. It's not like
No.
that. It could be hours on just a little strip. And especially, I heard you say that you deal with two cameras. So do you line up the tracks and all of that in your editing?
uh Well, yes, because if it's more of if I was able to like shoot like with two cameras, if I was willing to be able to like do uh just some random uh project, whatever it is, if it's like a movie or if it's like just a random like video that's a part with groups, I would use like cameras to have like of someone talking on the other side or uh of me talking on the left side. Like I would just use that, maybe like add like a uh multicam if I was able to use that as part of the editing. That's what I would do.
Okay, well, we're in high school, getting with our buddies. You're getting more into it. Can you take us on through high school and on out how you've grown?
Hmm. So this was, I'll say back in ninth grade, this is going to be back where I've done some YouTube videos where I kind of had some like people watch through it. So I have friends who kind of felt they wanted to do like the similar position as I did. So we've done some like kind of challenges of just random challenges of us just having fun with it, and just more of a gaming because one of my friends who's also a gamer who has done something like this. So this is also back in ninth grade. And then as going in through 10th or 11th grade, there was like no any uh, classes where I could be able to join any type of uh, classes where I could be able to do video production one or two. So I had to like find some way, like in my junior and senior high school, to be able to figure it out that way, so I could be able to like do those type of classes when I ever go to a trade school to be able to have a portfolio and a resume and of past projects I've done.
How did you train yourself? How did you go after programs that you needed to do this editing? It sounds like at the start you had to kind of feel your own way through,
Hmm.
and seem like you've done a great job from what I'm hearing, because you're after my own heart. I like that kind of stuff too, and that's why I'm listening so intensely. But when you started getting your equipment, you and your friends got together. Are you all still working together, or do you just call on them when you need them, or are you more independent?
So this is one more independent now, but this is from the past. Like we don't have that type of connection of us doing this type of thing anymore. It was more of just for fun.
What I would like to get into, Aaron, is when I met you. Your enthusiasm about this really did touch me. I'm self-taught pretty much, and I started probably before you were born. And that's why I understand when you talk about the equipment, the camcorders. Now we're up in the digitals and your EOS and things like that. I
Hmm.
understand what you're saying. I'm just sitting here keep from smiling because I really do like that. What happens when you put a project together, then you send it up on YouTube? Are you setting up like what you do in your gaming world, or are you putting content together that you want to express to the community?
Just more of a content expressive to the community, because that's more what I'm trying to like look forward to doing. Because if I was able to work with someone, because I work with was one big project was just mine, which is kind of a love story. So usually I just love like putting like stuff together, whatever it's like behind the scenes, or if it's anything that's just I don't know, scenes from backgrounds, or because I just like doing anything that's part of community for gaming. That's not really my thing because I not that much of a gamer.
Well, the reason I ask is my son, he's kind of getting out of it, but he was deep in that game. You know, split screens, special video cards. You know, he had gotten into it. You know, in yours, when you say community content, would you like to? Are you putting this on YouTube like today, these days?
Well, I had put some projects. I have put projects on YouTube, which was back I think 3 months ago, which was that love story I did talk about,
Okay.
and also this one project of I think it's with my aunt of doing like of her story of discussing a story of just anything that's related to Black woman and discussing her life and just skills that she's done in the past. That's what I've done through.
Well, that's kind of what we do here on Where Were You? You know,
Yeah.
that's a good thing, and I'm finding out as I'm doing this that what you're talking about, what we're talking about, seems to be one of the most watched things on YouTube are like testimonials or stories, just like what you're talking about. Well, let me
Hmm.
ask you this. How is it that your parents and your loved ones around you, how did they feel about you getting this deep into this video?
Well, they knew my goal was to do something like this. They knew this is something I kind of wanted to do. So, especially my dad, because he knows that back in my junior year of high school, we both discussed on how we could be able to find like some type of like trade school or any like type of thing we should do to be able to like in order for me to get into that position. So we've done some like research and just anything like that. And because I've also in high school have discussed it with some teachers who are also helping me, get like similar job like this. So just whatever I'm able to get into, that's what I'm trying to go from there.
Okay, I did meet your father, and we met at that Toastmasters. He's
Yes.
a character. I mean, or is that just Toastmaster stuff? Like the way you are interact, is that just the way you be when you're in Toastmasters?
Well, honestly, for Toastmasters, you just gotta like just be yourself because when you're up speaking, because my dad is always himself. He's a great speaker. He's been doing this for quite a while. Since when I was like 3 years old, that's when he's been doing it. And I wanted to join just to work on communication skills and leadership skills because this is something I need whenever I want to get a job, something like this. So I just be myself and just go up on stage and just either evaluate or speak.
Yeah, because your father seemed like he could have been on uh, one of them game shows on TV or something. The way he
Oh
was
yeah.
doing it, yeah, he was really good. I really enjoyed that. So let me ask you this: have you ever taken any videos of any of the Toastmasters sessions?
Oh yes, I have definitely. So back in 2022, this is back in November. Uh, I discussed a group documentary on why people should join Toastmasters, and I had Paula. I don't know if you know any other guys, but Paula was in it, and Kevin, which I assume you actually seen Kevin. He
Yeah.
was also part of the video as well, and they both introduced themselves on what their careers are and just some good knowledge on why you should join Toastmasters and also good examples and good points on why you should join it.
I found it very inspirational. I really never really been to a Toastmasters anything, and I didn't quite know what to expect. But for understanding what it is you're doing with people, I really believe that something like that could help me. And that's where I met you at
Mm-hmm.
this group. And that's where you was willing to come in and say this. Is there anything that when you were coming along or uh, on this journey, has there been bumps or anything that tried to turn you or anytime that you were challenged with saying, no, this is what I want to do, this is what I'm going to do?
So there were a few bumps, I would say back in high school a little bit, because it's that has to involve the sports, because I'm also into sports as well. So I've been doing a little bit of basketball and track as well, are my favorite things to do as an athlete. And just as at the same time, it's just that's something fun I should do. And I done that in my freshman and sophomore and junior year of high school. And I just wanted to also like get some exercise through it. So I've done that, and those were just some bumps. And I still was into what I am doing right now, and still looking forward to that. Even though I still into those sports, and I would always love doing it.
So, am I safe to say you're out of high school?
Yes.
Okay, I was just wondering. So you're out of high school, and here you are doing the Toastmasters, doing your video. Do you ever go out for hire for any of your video work? What I meant when I was saying hire, like, do you do weddings, birthday parties, or things like that, where somebody would hire you or pay you, and then you come back and do their editing for their project or for their function?
Well, that's kind of something that I'm kind of looking forward. It's basically I could basically do anything. I would basically do anything with weddings or just any like documentary projects because that's something mostly that I am kind of looking forward to doing.
Well, that's good because I'm serious. I would like to go up on YouTube and see what you're working with and how things are. Because that's exactly what a lot of us that I know that have these kind of skills, that's what we started out in hopes that we could be uh, beneficial to somebody's affair, their function, that they want to keep a memory of, a keepsake of, or something like that. And the work that we do could make the difference. For instance, if you're sitting there and you're doing a wedding and your EOS was all out of focus and everything else,
Hmm.
you done blew the whole thing.
Yes.
Because when you put on that jacket and go out there, there's responsibility that comes with it. And I was just wondering where you're at, where you were headed to. Have you bumped into those kind of situations? Have you been on a project and the equipment broke down? Or have you been in tight situations where you had to improvise to make it work? Kind of like what we were doing today, but everything panned out.
Well, I haven't had any like equipment damaged or anything, but I'm gonna have to go with a project I worked on back because I'm also still finishing up my last semester at Colorado Film School, which is now the cinematic arts. So basically, what the damages or the issue was is we had to charge every single like battery for any camera, so that way we could finish up whatever scene we were at for a project we were doing. And the only mess up is that because we were in a small room where it had like a house, kind of like similar to like a house, but had like a kitchen and also a bedroom and just a table where my scene is basically at. So we had the issue of us not knowing which cables to be able to like plug it in so that way it would work, and just any outlet that works or just any like uh switch to be able to have that turned on. So that was kind of a stressful thing to do. So we would have to find a different way and different time to be able to finish this up project. And so we did that on the next day because usually projects only take about like at least 2 days to be able to shoot, or at least depending on how long you're doing it. So we just went back to the room the next day to see what the problem is, and we got that taken care of, and our batteries for the camera actually works.
Well,
So
let
we were
me
able to
ask
finish
you
it up.
this then, while you're in school at cinema and all of that. That's great, though. That's great. My question to you is, are you Android or Mac?
I am Mac. I have a MacBook Pro that I'm using right now. So, and yeah.
I think I kind of want to lean that way, but it's a little pricey. But it seems like for this kind of work, they're perfect. Seems like you can't, no matter what software I get, it just seems that I'll be there for this kind of work on a Mac.
Mhm.
And you find yourself more comfortable with Mac?
Oh yeah, I started using Mac when I think this is 19 because I literally just got my MacBook Pro a couple years ago, and I've gotten used to because I use softwares like Premiere Pro or After Effects, and I use those softwares to be able to like use to edit faster because I've learned some keyboard shortcuts for the Mac, so I gotten used to it now because I have used PC before, but it wasn't the best for me, so I feel like using Mac is way better.
I I might have to stop this interview because I have so many questions I have for you because that's what I did. I bought the that whole suite too. I had Premiere. I know what you're talking about, After Effects, but
Yeah.
it really, just to be honest, I mess with the parts that I know, but I know there's so much more with it. And what you're telling me about After Effects and things of this nature, there's probably so much knowledge that you have that if sometime, young man, down the road, maybe if I bump into a little job or something, maybe we could talk a little bit because I'm very interested in what you're saying. I mean, that's really what I retired from. Had a
Mm.
recording studio. I've done audio, video for my life. I retired on. And the things that really get me now is how young people like yourself are mastering programs that, I was paying thousands of dollars for back then. And I know the depth of these programs. Ooh, you're not going to know it all. But you being in school and being taught by people that understand it, your knowledge has to be really broad. And I would
Mhm.
encourage you to keep doing it because not just because everybody's on strike or anything like that, but because it is something that people are going to want to get into. And then with your knowledge of how to go to YouTube's or Facebook's, or do you do like live streaming or anything of that nature?
Well, that's not necessarily what I actually did. I would say back in the past when I had my YouTube channel, I think it's when I think it was when I was making like a little gaming video, which was I don't know if you heard of the game called Super Smash Bros. I believe. Yeah, so it's basically like a Nintendo game, and I think we've done like a live stream of that. But any other live streams, I would say not on Facebook or Instagram. It's nothing really like that.
So a lot of your work or what you prefer now is just like hands on, go do the shoot, bring it back, and chop it up. Do you have like that software and stuff on your system, or do you have to go to the school to get it?
Oh yeah, I have those on my computer, and also if you meant by any other like software, I do use school sometimes, depending on like whatever it's required to use. So I either go back to either edit there or just go on my computer for it.
I'm trying to keep from grinning so much because it's like somebody after my own heart. You know what I mean? It's like,
Oh yeah.
oh man, I feel you, Aaron. You won't even know it, but I feel you, and it's good to know that someone is still, have that. I can hear that enthusiasm and that fire in you when you brought it up, and the way you confidently say, "This is what I do," and that's what kind of got me turned in there. And you agreed to come on this show. If you knew some young person that might have wanted to get into videos or into this kind of atmosphere of work, what would you advise them to do?
That's a great one. So my best advice, if anyone wants to get into this type of position, is also if this is something you actually want to do, like kind of like go for it. I would say uh, ask questions, like maybe ask someone who has done something similar like this. Like maybe if you're like into editing like myself, I'd say uh, work on trying to add some uh a title of your project, whatever it is you want to do. Like instead of like just going on YouTube, seeing other people do like uh videos on that, because you don't know what they do, because there's a lot of kids out there who do videos on there, whatever it's just like random. Oh, like for example, let's say random YouTuber who's a YouTuber, but they don't see all the lights or equipment they use. Like it is a lot of work. So I just advise you to just also just ask questions for someone. If you're an editor like myself, is just uh make a title of your project. Also, once you have like a crew with you as well, and also just kind of communicate like what scenes you want to have this on, and just also organize like the footage and what are bad takes, what are some good takes, or what are some like cameras that you should use in order for you to not have like any white balance, and just checking the camera to see if there's any like good settings to be able to like have some good white balance. And for editing as well, kind of like see if this is actually something that footage you want to use. If you want to like change the color, the saturation of it, kind of add that for it. And just also before you even like submit a project, I advise you to do is just to look uh at the ending, because even if your project is great, even if you feel like you did a great job on it, kind of watch it again, because like if the ending is bad, then you're screwed. So I'd say, whenever you're adding like titles to your projects, make sure everyone's names is spelled correctly, and make sure the grammar is correctly too, because otherwise, um, in the future, if you go out into the world doing something like this, you like the client maybe like they might terminate you depending on whatever it is you're doing. And if there's like any deadlines, like make sure you always turn it in on time. Or better yet, a pro tip is also just to make sure you turn it in early, because that will make it the client super happy. And that just makes you more of a professional uh, client. And that's basically my advice.
Well, that's some great advice. Are you prepared to hit the community?
Well, I'd say I wouldn't say I'm compared for this community, but I'm also what I should say is also kind of be part of a intern, which I kind of am right now for devoted Moon Cave Films, which I just edited like a short 30-second promo. So I'd say actually kind of join like an actual intern. It doesn't have to be like a paid, it could actually just be an unpaid. So that's basically what I'm kind of going through.
It one day, Aaron, if you don't mind, I wouldn't mind one day because I just have humble equipment, and I go out for hike.
Okay.
You know what I mean? You want me to come? I'll show up. I consider myself reasonable. I
Mhm.
consider myself to have good editing skills and all of this kind of stuff. So I would like to know if maybe down the road sometime we can talk just a little bit more because I'm sprung.
Yeah.
I retired and I'm still sprung. You know, I'm doing this because I love doing it. I just love doing it. I mean, I could sit here, like you're talking about 30 seconds, and sometimes people, I go out and for as much recording time, I charge editing. Because people think editing is just cut, slop, dot, dot. But just like you're talking about adjusting film on cameras, sound on cameras, you can do all of that in editing as well because your
Yes.
sound may not come through. The light you may have your camera set and somebody pull a shade down or something.
Yeah.
Anything could happen. And you have to be ready to go through these things. So, Aaron, if you don't mind, and I have it on tape, if you don't mind, I mean, down the road sometime, I would like to talk to you more about your video quest.
Yeah.
I can definitely walk you on getting your foot out there. You know what I mean? I might need 2 people. I think I would like to call you, Aaron. And I really do thank you for coming up here on Where Were You? And I don't know where you're at with all of this, but I just would like to tell you that I pray that God continue to bless you and your family and all your endeavors that you want to do that. He opens doors for you for your dream and your quest as you continue in your life. Is that okay if I say that to you, my brother?
Absolutely.
Yes, because that's where I am. I believe that there was a reason I came to the meeting. I believe there's a reason why you sat in front of me. I just believe that there's a reason we're talking now. And Aaron, I thank you. I really thank you for taking this time. And where were you?
Well, I appreciate it. It's great to be on here. It's great to have. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you. Okay, my brother. Well, another episode of Where Were You? And we would like to thank our guests for this evening. Also want to thank New Me. New Me helps sponsor Where Were You? So go on and check it out. New Me /Arkway. Also, go on and hit that like. Go on and hit subscribe. Go on and hit that share. Go on and leave a comment. And if you find anyone that has a story, let me know. And hey, you bless someone today.